Are you thinking of moving to Las Vegas? Well, in this video, I'm about to tell you the pros and the cons of living in Las Vegas, so stay tuned. Before we go through our list, don't forget to hit that bell, like, and subscribe so that way I can get to you all the information that you might need if you're considering moving to Las Vegas. And if there's something that I missed, please comment below. That way I can add it to my filmings and make sure that I cover everything that you guys are going to need to know if you're considering or thinking about moving to Las Vegas. So, number one, coming in our pros is that there's no income tax. That's pretty obvious. Most people are considering moving here because they already know that. This is one thing that we can all really agree on and enjoy, that when we finally get our paycheck, we can look at it and say, hey, we got a little bit more money. I know for me, moving from California, or maybe some of you are considering moving from another big city like New York, even Hawaii, and you're paying that really expensive income tax. I was in sales for years and I would get my paycheck and half of it's gone. Just take half my commissions, they'd be gone. And it was a really frustrating thing that I dealt with for far too long. And now that I'm here, it's exciting to know what I'm going to get once that paycheck shows up. So, this is something that you'd really benefit from if you're moving to Las Vegas, especially, like I said, if you're moving from one of those cities, just to enjoy your earnings. Okay, so number two, this may not be a huge surprise to everybody, but marijuana, whether it's recreational or medical use, is legal here in Las Vegas. This is something you benefit from if you have a medical need, anxiety, who knows what the deal is. This is a part of today's culture. I think we've all kind of, become aware of that. So you'll see dispensaries all over the city, even in the neighborhoods, making it very accessible and convenient for you if this is something you want to partake in. So yeah, like I said, it's just a part of our culture. And whether you agree with it or not, this does come in as a pro. Number three, Vegas is a 24-hour city. That's right. So this makes it so convenient if you evening entertainment, dinners. Sometimes I'm visiting other cities. My boyfriend lives in Utah. And when I go there, everything's shut down by 6 p.m. And that could be really frustrating if, you're working late. I mean, half of our residents here work nights and work evenings. So it's just so convenient if you wanted to go see a show, go to some of these great restaurants. The city's just running 24 hours. Okay, number four, which is my personal favorite, is the outdoor activity. There is so much going on here in the desert. You may not be aware of it. So if you enjoy getting away from your day-to-day routine, then this is a great hub because we've got Red Rock, which is a state conservation area and a state park, and it's just 15 minutes outside the city. It has a major, beautiful sightseeing road you could drive through. It's a one-way. I think it's about 13 miles. I just enjoyed it this weekend with a friend that was in town. Another huge thing is the mountain biking culture. BLM does a great job allowing the park rangers to maintain these trails so that they're always up to date. If we get a storm or a washout, they come in behind and make sure the trails are manicured and nice. So I love mountain biking. This is one of my favorite things. You could go camping. You're close connect to major states as well that might have something you're interested in. So like Mount Zion in Utah. Utah has so many great parks. Arizona is right around the corner. You've got California. So you've got all these major connects. Even if you didn't want to enjoy and stay in the desert, you could, within a couple hours, be somewhere else. We have Lake Mead, which is wonderful during our summer heat. You could go out boating, if you've got kayaking, anything that you'd like to do on the lake for wrecks. They have rentals, day use, beaches, etc. So the other thing we have close by is Mount Charleston. So Lake Mead's, about 30 miles outside of the city, 30 minutes, sorry. And Mount Charleston's about 45 to an hour, depending on where you're going from. So from the north end of the city, It's probably only about 20, 30 minutes from the south end where I live. It's a solid hour drive, but let me tell you, if you enjoy skiing or snowboarding or just want to take your family up to the snow, it's just such a quick, easy access to get there. Number 5, entertainment and dining, hands down, everybody's favorite, because that's why people come here. They come here for all the entertainment and the amazing cuisine and food. We have a world-class entertainment and dining here in Las Vegas. We have some of the best chefs from around the world that are featured in a lot of the casinos, but a lot of times these chefs break away and they end up opening up their own restaurants, which we can enjoy. You've got all of the shows. So whether you like music, theater, the Cirque du Soleil is one of my family's favorites. You just have stuff going on, not to mention some of the local venues where you could see aspiring artists. There's just something going on 7 days a week, all around the clock. And it's really becoming a foodie paradise. I featured Jinx in one of mine and Adam's video we did together. Here's a pic of us with Charlie. And it's one of the best restaurants I've been to in Summerlin. So whether you're on the Strip and you're here for the weekend, or if you're a local, there's a lot of other great local spots that you could enjoy great dining and cuisine. Not to mention fun little quirky things like Chinatown, just west of the Strip. You've got a lot of unique little restaurants and great little places to go get little desserts, great sushi, you name it, they've got it there. Just a whole street, just miles of restaurants and things to choose from. All right, number 6, the cost of living. This kind of ties in with the whole state income tax. Obviously, it's just so much cheaper than many other cities. It always sticks out to me that, I moved here from California, and I talk to a lot of my family and friends who are now also moving, but we'll compare things like simple things, the cost of milk, eggs, what the gas prices are like in California compared to here. I have another friend in New York and that we discussed. So I really saved a lot of money in moving to Nevada and Las Vegas just because I'm not as house broke. The mortgage is a lot cheaper. The cost of living is cheaper. All of that extra spendings that went towards those types of bills and income tax now are going into my savings account. I'm able to take a nice yearly trip with my family on vacation. It goes a long way. So if I wanted to move back home to the same town I grew up in, I'd be house broke. I wouldn't even be able to afford it, not compared to the square footage and the amount of space that I enjoy here in Nevada. So if you're considering it, take that into consideration and realize where you're really going to save the money. All right, number 7, the traffic. As I've mentioned, I'm from California, and so the traffic is the biggest thing I hated about living there, for sure. I mean, you couldn't get anywhere, even if it's just across town, short of an hour. And just the stress. I can remember sitting in traffic every day, commuting to work, which was only like 14 miles, but it would take me a solid hour to get there. And it's like, that's an hour in the morning, that's an hour at night. And that's taking time away from you spending time with your family. It's also taking time away from just making money. You're not making money in that process. Maybe if you've got a few tricks up your sleeve, but just all the minutes that you can save, in Vegas, for a day-to-day commute for me, getting to meetings, showing houses, things like that, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops to get from one end to the other. And I could go around the entire city in an hour. And that's a huge blessing. Even in huge events are in town. EDC was just here, SEMA weekend. It's going to be hectic to get across the Strip, but there's plenty of ways to avoid it. But otherwise, on a day-to-day, traffic is not the same. For those of you moving from New York or, some of the bigger cities, Chicago, Houston, California, you name it, the traffic here is nothing compared to that. So it's a huge perk. All right. Number 8, the airport. It is so convenient. McCarran Airport is just minutes outside of the Strip in between, Henderson, Paradise area. And it's a huge hub. Southwest is one of our major flight connections here. You could get on a straight shot pretty much anywhere you need to go on the west side around, California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah. I fly with Southwest quite a bit. But it's just an easy commute for business. So I speak with people all the time that fly back and forth to Los Angeles or maybe Phoenix, Salt Lake City. makes it very convenient. There's many direct flights really anywhere you want to go. If you want to go to the East Coast, we've got American that flies direct. We also have JetBlue that flies direct. So it just makes it convenient. Also for people that want to come and visit, it's an international destination. So it makes it easy for family and friends to come and visit you anytime or for you to get out. Number 9 is the pro sports. Vegas is really becoming a pro sports city. So we've got, the Las Vegas Raiders. That was a huge thing for people that lived here, locals. We didn't have a football team before. And maybe you're moving from somewhere that doesn't have a sports team. A lot of my Hawaiian friends were so excited to come here and enjoy supporting a local team. We've got the Golden Knights, which you will see Knights fans throughout this city, and they are crazy fans. They love their hockey team, as do I. So we've got the Las Vegas Aces, which is the WNBA team. There is chatter that we may be purchasing an NBA team. I've heard rumor of the Suns. Don't quote me on that, but I've heard rumor. So it just, Las Vegas is really growing. We're not just a party city anymore for the residents. Now it's creating some camaraderie through our great sports, and there's going to be more to come. So it's definitely a pro that I enjoy. Okay, so if you guys have made it this far, just stick with me. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there. We're going to get into our cons. So I listed this earlier as a pro, but it also is a con. Coming in at number 1, we've got marijuana. So if it bothers you, you need to reconsider moving here, right? Because this is something you're going to see all over the city, and in neighborhoods, you're going to see dispensaries, maybe while you're shopping, driving up and down your residential area, you may see some signs. So I would say if this is something, you may think differently about it and may not be as open to it, and that's okay. I come from a conservative background, so I understand. Take a trip out here, visit and see what it's all about. Maybe you would choose the location based on less advertising, and that's your choice. But yes, it may be a pro to a lot of people, but it also can be a con. So I understand that. All right, number 2 on the con list is the weather, the hot weather. It is hot here, folks. So come and visit. If you have never been here during the summer months when it's reaching like 115 degrees, 120, it's something to experience. I moved here from Scottsdale before I came from California, so I had already had some time to adjust and adapt to the heat, but it is pretty miserable. I'm not going to lie. You don't really want to go outside when it's that hot, and it doesn't really cool off in the evenings. If you have animals, walking your dogs, you're planning early morning walks. I go at like 5 a.m. or late, 8 p.m. walks once the sun's down and the asphalt has cooled off, because it will hurt your little dog's feet. A lot of pet owners here have the little doggy socks or shoes to put on their animals. It looks silly, but it'll save their little pads. So yeah, just enjoying the outdoors during July and August it's rough. You got to be an early riser, but there's some beautiful sunrises and sunsets, and you do adapt. You just have to give yourself some time to acclimate. So like I said, come and visit during the summer months, check it out and see if you can hang. If not, then you may reconsider moving to Las Vegas. All right. Number 3 on our cons list is transportation. You need a car, folks, if you're living in Las Vegas. Lyft and Ubers can get pretty expensive. Unless you're living and working on the Strip and you can afford to live in a high rise, you could probably get away with taking Lyfts, Ubers, walking, no problem. But most of us live on the outskirts and we live around the Strip. And like I said, it's a solid 30-minute commute across town. So even though that's not that far, you can't rely on our bus systems. We're still building, we're still growing. So our infrastructure is still, adapting to our growth. We do have a bus system, but it's pretty centralized around the center of the city. So most of my friends and people I know, they have a car. You definitely want to have a vehicle to have convenience of getting to and from or around the city. So if you don't have a vehicle and you're coming from a major city like Chicago or New York, where they've got, the subways and great public transportation, you may reconsider the expense of what it would cost you to either get a car or to have to rely on ride share. Coming in number 4 on our cons list is the lack of greenery. This is actually a bigger deal than you think. If you come from one of, a beautiful, lush, verdant area like I did in Northern California, I grew up in the Sierra Nevadas. I was used to seeing pine trees as tall as you can see, mountain biking and hiking in that beautiful fresh mountain air, smelling the red dirt. And moving to the desert was a little shocking for me because you're really only seeing rocks, dirt, and cacti, which is cool, but doesn't make for a lot of beautiful scenery. So if you're used to having or expect to have a beautiful, luscious backyard or front yard with grass and trees, you have to get used to the fact that we have what's called desert landscaping. Most people have fake grass and turf, and they've got, plants that can sustain in the desert. Lots of cool rocks and different types of cactus. And it's just something different to consider. If you've never thought about that, think about it. Okay, so coming in at number 5 is the fact that this is a transient city, which means most people are not from here. In fact, when you meet a native, it's shocking. Most people have moved here from other cities, like myself. So when I moved here, it made it really hard to actually make friends and meet people because a lot of the locals, they work graveyard shifts or swing shifts. It's a 24-hour city. So it may be hard to make friends. You might have to rely on the people that you work with. Or how about the fact that most of us are working from home now? That was something that was produced from the coronavirus and COVID, and a lot of us have adapted to working from home. So, take that into consideration that it might be a little harder to make friends. Doesn't mean it's impossible. But yeah, that is something to consider. And I do consider that somewhat of a con. Coming in at number 6 on our cons list is the education system. That's right, folks. We are at the bottom nationwide. It's a bummer, but it's true. And if you're moving here and you have children, you need to take that into consideration. We have a small list of private schools that are rather pricey. So if you can't afford that, you need to take into consideration that you may need to look into charter or public. Now we are zoned. So I always tell my clients coming from out of state, hey, I'll prepare for you a list of different school zones. We could go tour them, and you may decide to relocate whatever you were looking for as a location to live. You may consider relocating to that zone if education is really important to you and you cannot afford private school. We do also have magnet high schools, which are more aimed towards college prep. So my daughter's in 8th grade. She's going to be going into 9th grade, and we are already looking at which magnet school is going to be best suited for what she wants to do. And, a few of them are in the northern region. I live in the south region. So I have to consider, is it going to be worth moving up north? This is just part of living here. I don't expect it to stay like this forever. Like I said, we are growing, and with that will come growth in our education system as well. So don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell. Let me know if there's something that I'm missing here. Comment below. I would love to make sure that I get that information to you if you guys are considering moving to Las Vegas. So number 7 on the cons list is HOA, SIDS, and LIDs. I'll explain. Most of you may know what an HOA is, but if you're coming to Las Vegas, most of our housing communities do have HOAs, not all, but most. Majority of homes have it. This is a monthly fee that basically goes towards common areas, maintenance, etc. So depending on if you're in a gated community or even a gate guarded community, I live in a gate guarded community. My HOAs are a little bit higher, but we do have beautiful grounds, beautiful common spaces, pools, community rooms, a gym, things like that. So those fees are going back into that. HOAs also do have a lot of control with what's going on with the way your house looks. So if you don't like people telling you what to do, you may reconsider that. Let me explain SIDS and LIDs. Basically, this is a special improvement tax. Not all communities have them, but this is something, if you're moving here, you want to take into consideration. All homeowners that live within an area that have SIDS and LIDs are responsible to be taxed or to pay a tax within that area. So let's say you're selling your house and you have a remaining balance on that tax. the new owner is going to be responsible to take over that remaining balance. So this is important to ask your realtor if you need one. Here I am. Just do your homework. That's the main thing. Do your homework when you're looking at houses and make sure that those things are included so you know what your monthly mortgage is going to be. All right. Well, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I really appreciate it if you made it through the entire video. Drop a comment if I forgot anything that you guys need to know in making your decision to coming to Las Vegas. And if you need a realtor or someone to show you around, I would love to meet you, love to talk with you. Here's my number below, so please reach out. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you on the next one.